Everyone's excited over the LinkedIn IPO pop. Do you remember last year's crazy IPO? Tesla up 40% in the first day. That was way back in last June. Since then, the stock has continued to rise, up 12%. But much of the activity around Tesla shares has been behind the scenes, with short sellers taking an aggressively negative stance on Tesla. Now, Tesla's short interest is 48% of the Tesla float. Compare that to the S&P's 3.3%. This makes it one of the most hated stocks on Wall Street. Nearly every other share outstanding bet against Tesla. So the company has its haters. Why? Well, Tesla has no profits, losing money on the sale of every single of its Roadster sports cars, and the losses are accelerating. Also mounting Tesla's capital expenditures from $6 million to $20.5 million last quarter. Bottom line is that Tesla's burning through an average of $50 million in free cash flow in each of the last 6 quarters. Now, where's the money going to come from? Well, it's going to come from you and me. Tesla's received a $465 million loan from the Department of Energy. Now, that money is to be spent developing the next Tesla, the Model S. And this is the whole shooting match. Tesla's expected to make 5,500 Model S cars next year, ramping up to 20,000 by 2014. This is an ambitious goal to create a whole new kind of car with sales to rival any luxury sedan and do it in the next 18 months. A lot of Wall Street is betting that CEO Elon Musk can't get it done. Emily?
Thanks, Corey. That is the drill down. Joining us now from Palo Alto, California, is the man who's supposed to get it done himself, Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Elon, welcome to Bloomberg West. So let's start with the Model S. What's the timeline for that? Realistically, when do you see customers getting their first car?
Well, we feel pretty confident about the customer deliveries starting in the middle of next year, which is what we've been saying since the IPO. So it's looking really good.
Now, analysts are saying at the price that you're selling it at, it's nearly impossible to make a profit. Quoting Eric Noble from Car Lab, he says it's absolutely impossible. The laws of physics and accounting simply don't allow it. What's your response to that?
Well, you know, I do actually have a background in physics. I'm not sure if he does, but there's certainly nothing in the laws of physics that would prevent us from selling the car for even potentially less than what we're selling it for right now. If you were to add up the spot market value of the material constituents in the car, it's considerably less than the price that we pay. So I'm not sure on what basis one would make that conclusion. At this point, we feel quite comfortable and confident of the cost of the car. There's really 99% of the car has already been priced in terms of the supply chain agreements that we have, and in terms of the parts we're making internally. So I think we've got very good confidence in the cost of the car and being able to achieve the margins that we predicted when we did the IPO.
Hey, Elon, so let me ask you about that. You know, you've obviously got a lot of milestones you've got to hit before you get those first cars out. It does seem like the whole game is to get that first Model S out when you say you're going to. What's the most recent milestone you've passed internally that tells you you're still on time?
Well, so there are a couple of key milestones. The most important recent one is completion of the alpha prototypes of the Model S. So that's sort of the, you know, just like when you're developing high-tech software or hardware, you've got kind of the alpha phase, the beta phase, the release candidate, and then finally you're in production. And so we just passed the alpha phase. I actually drive the latest alpha vehicle every week, and that's gone right on schedule. So that's looking very good. We expect to have, in terms of looking ahead, the first beta vehicle is done by the end of the summer. The beta vehicles will be almost indistinguishable from the final production designs, sort of 99% production design. Of course, you know, if you're a short seller, you're betting that won't occur. But if you're long, you're betting it will. And I think, judging by you know, the stock price, despite the fact that there's such a significant short position, that our stock price has done so well since IPO. I mean, we IPO'd at $17. I think we're at 26 or something like that now, which is, you know, I think the market is saying that they have quite a bit of faith in us.
Yeah, well, indeed. I mean, there is a big short interest, and there are people that own the stock as well, and your stock is up over the last year, not as much as the S&P 500, but given that there's so much baked into the future for you guys, clearly some people are betting that this is going to work out. Talk to me a little bit about orders and what orders have been like. The last numbers I saw, and they may be dated, were a few thousand orders and I should say $5,000 deposits for everyone that says they want one of the Model S cars. Where do orders stand right now?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm not sure correct about it, us being. I think we're actually significantly have appreciated significantly more than the S&P. $17 versus our current stock price. But in terms of advance orders, I have to be careful about material non-public information. But as we remarked on our last earnings call, we're up around the 4,000. Deposits, so we've almost sold out of all of next year's production, well in advance of next year.
Yeah, no, and Elon, I appreciate that. You're exactly right. The stock has appreciated since that IPO pricing. I was going after the first day's trade or the end of the first day trading, which is probably not the fair way to do it. But you guys have definitely. You're right. That's the whole betting match: is can you get it done in time? That's both sides of the street are out on this one in force.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I would point out that if you look at all the companies I've been a key part of creating, every single round in every single company, every time we've sold stock in one of those companies, every single round has been an up round. That's about 32 rounds over 5 companies since 1995, without exception. So if you're a short seller, consider those odds.
That said, Elon, the stock has been volatile over the past year. Some analysts have suggested that Tesla is a takeover target and that it is actually in your interest to sell. Would you have any plans to do that?
Well, I don't think it's a good idea to plan to sell a company. I mean, our plan for Tesla is to build a really great company and build one of the great car companies of the 21st century. I think the highest value path for Tesla is to remain independent, and I certainly think we can. We obviously have great supporting partners in that Daimler is an investor and a customer of Tesla. The same is true for Toyota. Toyota's an investor in Tesla, and they're a customer of ours. And so, I think with partners like that, it's certainly very feasible to stay independent for a long time. I don't personally have any interest in selling. I think there's a lot more innovation we can bring to the car business. But such things are always possible.
Elon, tell me, you've said that you can undercut the current price of a rocket launch by as much as 50%. How do you plan to do that?
Well, actually, it's not really a plan. It's what we're already doing. In fact, we're doing considerably better than that. If you compare our rockets, the cost of our rockets to that of, say, Boeing or Lockheed, we're less than a third of their cost, and they've recently just announced that they're going to increase their prices. So we'll perhaps be a quarter of their cost. But this is established fact. It is not what we propose to do. And we've already launched two flights of our Falcon 9 vehicle last year, and the second one carried our Dragon spacecraft, which did 2 orbits around the Earth and then re-entered just off the coast of California. We recovered it in December. It's the first time any private company has recovered anything from orbit. So again, we've got really good sense for our costs, and in fact, we're audited in our cost numbers by NASA, by the Defense Department, by other customers to verify that what we're saying is true. But we've just been able to be extremely capital efficient, be very innovative in the design in every aspect of the vehicle, from the engines to the structures, the avionics to the launch operation itself. We actually have issued almost no patents, and this is sort of an interesting difference between Tesla and SpaceX. At Tesla, we do a lot of patents. At SpaceX, we do almost none. And the reason is that SpaceX, our toughest competitors are actually the Russian government and the Chinese government, and there's really no enforceability of patents against them.
You do have a contract with NASA. At this point, it's only for cargo. How do you plan to drum up more commercial interest in a generally low-volume business?
Well, actually, I should point out we've got over 40 launches under contract, over $3 billion of business under contract right now. And of those 40 launches, only 13 are for NASA. So 27 of them are actually commercial.
Elon, how much time are you spending on SpaceX? How do you divide your time between the two companies?
Well, it's about 50-50. And it is a little tricky because SpaceX's headquarters are in LA and Tesla's headquarters are in the Bay Area. So I basically fly up on a Tuesday morning from LA to Palo Alto and then fly back on Wednesday evening. And then I split, and then so at the risk of being too much detail, Monday is SpaceX, Thursday is SpaceX, Tuesday, Wednesday Tesla, and then Friday is split between the two companies. The Tesla design studio is co-located with SpaceX, or adjacent to SpaceX, so I can work on car design stuff along with rocket stuff on the same day.
I would think with that fast car, you can get from LA to Palo Alto pretty quick. But you should use Jack Dorsey's. You know, Jack Dorsey was on our show earlier. He's doing 100% at both companies. That's twice 50%. Go ahead, challenge that math. I dare you.
Yeah, I mean, the things where it just get a little stressful is when, you know, if there's a simultaneous crisis at both companies, then I'm working, you know, 100+ hour weeks, and that's not the most fun thing in the world. But both companies at this point thankfully are operating very smoothly, so it's down to a mere 80 hours, which is quite manageable.
Well, I mean, I guess that is a point, though, to be serious about it. I mean, at a certain point, do you need, you know, I look at Tesla in the public markets and think they need 120% of your time. You know, they need your time. SpaceX really needs your time. Is there a point at which, and what is the point at which you turn one of them over to be run by somebody else who can devote all their time to it?
Well, I suppose that's possible at some point in the future, but I think for at least the short to medium term, I feel comfortable running both companies. I've really got an outstanding team in place at both Tesla and SpaceX, and that allows me to devote most of my time to product design. I'm really an engineer designer. That's what I'm best at, and the way things are set up right now, I'm able to work engineering design issues at Tesla and SpaceX, and I think do a pretty good job of both.
So in addition to running two companies, you've also, it seems, taken up kite surfing. And I only bring this up because we have some fantastic video of you out on the waves. Apparently, this has become a big fad among tech heavyweights, including Larry Page and Sergey Brin. What is the appeal of kite surfing to tech entrepreneurs?
Well, first of all, I'm a terrible kite surfer. In fact, if you have footage of me, it's probably me.
You look pretty good there.
Did I really? Okay, well, you must have caught me on a rare good moment. I'm a terrible kite surfer. At some point, I would like to be less terrible. But it's kind of a fun thing. It definitely appeals a lot to the high-tech crowd, I think, because it's kind of a sort of a high-tech sport. You know, the kite technology is constantly evolving. It's an interesting challenge to manage the kite while you're zipping across the waves. It's a good adrenaline rush. You're out there in the water and kind of having an outdoorsy time. It's fun. It seems like the most fun thing you could do if you have some spare time.
All right, so apparently that video was an event you were at, but I don't believe you. I've heard you are pretty good. Thanks so much, Elon Musk, for joining us. Great to have you here on Bloomberg West.